I don't know if you've seen this video. I don't think it's actually new.
Which one?
Of the Uyghurs.
Oh, yeah, the drone video.
Yeah, in restraints.
Unbelievable. Thousands. In blindfolds, Jim.
Unbelievable.
Being shipped out at a train station.
And I think back to the Europeans, the way they went after us when we moved a couple of dozen guys to Guantanamo, who were high security risks.
Wow.
And restrained them in a manner restrain them in a manner that is appropriate for a person who's at risk to themselves and at risk to the people guarding them.
Right.
In contrast with this, which looks like kids heading into the Dachau train station.
Yeah.
And that to especially in this enlightened woke world in which we live, which we should be offended by everything, but yet the masses who are upset about so many things could care less about the defining human rights abuse of our generation. Mass detention, slave labor, unlimited surveillance, and forced birth control.
Yes, all in China. Well, let's listen to the man who is in charge of foreign affairs for this administration. He's Secretary Pompeo, who links the various threads of what's going on right now. This was the Secretary yesterday, video cut for Eric Play video.
The New York Times, 1619 Project, so named for the year that the first slaves were transported to America, wants you to believe that our country was founded for human bondage. They want you to believe that America's institutions continue to reflect the country's acceptance of slavery at our founding. They want you to believe that Marxist ideology, that America is only the oppressors and the oppressed. The Chinese Communist Party must be gleeful when they see the New York Times spout this ideology.
Isn't this an important point, Jim, that for those Americans here, media organs, whoever it is, who say, we are the oppressive nation, we're built on slavery, it's all about America is the problem in the world. It's not just Beijing, it's Pyongyang, it's Russia. How do they respond to that? Isn't that good for them?
Well, I think this is the great civil society challenge of our time, because here essentially you have people squabbling over things. Look, I don't want to impugn their motives. It appears to me as this is about an effort to seize political power and to use an argument over civil liberties to essentially get political power. But let's just speed up. But when there are unbelievable evils in the world, and to me, this is like breaking into the piggy bank and taking your kids' money to go gamble when you don't have enough money to buy food for the table. We are ignoring, because we're so obsessed about whether a statue needs to stand, we're ignoring 1 million people in detention camps, tens of millions of people in Hong Kong's rights taken away.
Yes.
Proliferating a company which is going to operate worldwide, which is going to steal all the world's information and send it back to China for China's own gain.
Huawei, right.
And we're so obsessed about our political obsessions that we've lost sight of evil in the world.
Is there any way to fix this without just waiting for an election result, Jim? Are we just condemned to wait to see who wins in politically? Or is there something we can do in the meantime?
Well, I give all praise in the world to Secretary Pompeo in his very legitimate effort in this talk that he gave in Philadelphia, announcing a commission report that they just released on inalienable rights, really parsing, look, indisputable evil from the free world.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, you know what? He's not saying vote for my guy.
No.
He's not saying you can't protest. He's not saying you can't not like Confederate statues. What he's saying is, fine, but let's not lose sight of the great evil in the world and our joint responsibility to stand against it.
Isn't it about a perspective? It's just about perspective.
It's
a sense of reality and priority.
I think it is. It's a sense of privilege, right? When you have kids who you sit around the Christmas tree and they just can't have enough presents, and they're not thankful for the fact that nobody's shooting at their house, nobody's giving their kids dope, nobody's throwing their kids in detention camp, nobody's shaving their kids' heads and selling it on Amazon. They don't appreciate that, and I do feel that a lot of this comes from a sense of privilege, not from a sense of oppression in America. And people need to stand, wake up. you and I, we're professionals. We deal with stuff all the time. The era of great power competition. The United States, on the one hand, trying to sometimes protect the free world from itself, but protect the free world where people could, live in peace and harmony. And countries that see the idea of freely elected governments, human rights, and free enterprise as obstacles to the expansion of their power, Russia, China, Iran, pushing back against those things. And we see that, and these guys just don't care.
Is it because people don't travel enough? They don't see what the world is like? What is it down to? Is it more than just indoctrination?
Sometimes I wonder. I think when you see that bright, shiny object and you can reach for it, you lose sense about everything else. It's like the gambler that goes in and all he sees is I pull that lever, I'll get a $500,000 payday. So these people see, I can seize political power here. I can take this country and remake it exactly what I want. And they lose sight that what's underneath that could be pulled out from under them. You know what Reagan said? One generation.
One generation.
Right?
The loss of liberty, the extinction of liberty is always just one generation away. The great Ronald Reagan. True evil exists, but not here in America. We are flawed, but we're not evil. Not like China with mass labor camps. Perspective and commitment to the truth. That's what the Heritage Foundation is about.